Welcome to the first episode of the Three Sportsmen podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kurt.
I'm Sam.
I'm Trey.
So I'm a diehard Minnesota Vikings and Toronto Raptors fan.
I'm a Packers, I'm a Blackhawks fan, I'm a White Sox fan, and I'm a Bulls fan.
I'm a Chicago sports fan, Bears, Bulls, Cubs, and I'm a Northwestern fan for college.
All right, so this show as a whole is generally going to be a sports news and debate show, somewhat similar to First Take maybe, but we want to add some humor to it as well. So the NFL draft is, as of the time we're recording this, only 4 days away, and it's the first really big sports news in a while. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what we think each of our teams should be doing in the draft. So since the Vikings have the first picks out of the Vikings, Packers, and Bears, let's start with talking about them. Honestly, I think the Vikings, they should trade up, like if one of the best prospects falls to them. So if a guy like CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy were to fall past 15, I'd want to trade up. But that's probably not going to happen, honestly. I think they're going to go in the 10 to 15 range. What do you guys think?
Jalen,
CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, where are they going to go?
I've been seeing mock drafts saying that Jerry Jeudy is going to go to the 49ers.
Okay.
I would say CeeDee Lamb is going top 10.
I can see that. I've heard the Jets are interested in drafting him at 11.
Yeah, the Jets seem very interested from what I've seen in a lot of mock drafts. He'd be a good fit there.
Yeah, but
it sucks. Well, I mean, to be completely honest with you, I don't think any receiver is a good fit for New York.
I don't know. New York's
the Jets. Yeah.
Especially the
Long
Jets.
story short, none of them are going to end up in Minnesota. So the Vikings are probably going to need to end up drafting a cornerback. I think C.J. Henderson and Okudah are completely off the board. But guys like Christian Fulton, Jeff Gladney, and maybe even Jalen Johnson from Utah or Damon Arnett as a second-round pick, I think they're on the table. I heard Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety from Minnesota, met with the Vikings. And he's the one guy in this draft who I'm sold on. I think he's going to be a star. I don't know if the Vikings would have him play safety because of Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith currently playing those positions. I don't know if we're going to trade Anthony Harris, or if we were to draft Winfield, would we just move him to cornerback? It's going to be really interesting to see what they do at cornerback because Rhodes is gone, Trey Waynes is gone, and now Mackenzie Alexander's gone as well. So there really aren't a lot of good cornerbacks up in Minnesota. Vikings should probably also do something about the offensive line because we can't compete with Khalil Mack and Zadarius Smith. I'm just going to be honest. So getting someone like Josh Jones to replace Riley Reif at left tackle, maybe move Reif to guard, that's a possibility from what I've heard, especially if they do trade for Trent Williams. Then someone else is Jonah Jackson from Ohio State as a late day 2, early day 3 pick. I really don't want to move someone out of their natural position because the last couple times the Vikings have done that, it just hasn't ended well with Mike Remmers moving from tackle to guard. That was horrible, in my opinion. And then moving Pat Elflein from center to guard was okay, but I liked him more at center, if I'm being honest. I've seen a lot of Vikings fans talking about the defensive line, and unless we can trade up for a guy like Javon Kinlaw, I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. We got Michael Pierce from Baltimore to replace Linval Joseph, and I honestly think Everson Griffin is going to come back, so I don't see D-line as the biggest problem out there. And then wide receiver, Denzel Mims, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman Jr., those are all guys who I'd really like to see. Tyler Johnson and Quintez Cephas as late-round guys, I think that'd be great for the Vikings. So, Sam, what do you think the Packers should do?
I mean, there hasn't been as much talk about how much, what the Packers are going to get just in the news, only because it's pretty obvious what we're targeting. It's going to be receivers. A lot of mock drafts. I've seen Ayuk. I've seen Rager. I've seen Mims. I've seen all those guys. Personally, the two that I would take is either Mims or Rager. because even though they are two completely different receivers, both of them I think would thrive under Aaron Rodgers. But there's not as much because it's pretty obvious what we need after we shipped Geronimo Allison off to Detroit. It's pretty obvious what we're going to go for. Trey?
The Bears are in a pretty tough spot. There's quite a few needs that we have, and we have no first-round pick, 2 second-rounders, and then we don't pick again until the 5th round due to
imagine
many
not having any
trades.
draft picks.
Yeah, imagine not having a first-round pick. That's tough. That's rough, dude.
Yeah.
But because we don't have a lot of picks, I would really advise Ryan Pace to do something that he's not used to and trading down instead of trading up. We need more depth. Our biggest need far and away is offensive line. They got destroyed last year.
The O-line just wasn't good.
Yeah, it was not a very good scene at all. Kyle Long retired, who was a longtime Bear. He was kind of injured anyways, so it wasn't like as big of a loss. But they really need to address that. Some guys I've seen is maybe Jonah Jackson coming to them or Cesar, from Ohio State.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of somebody's got to get beat by the Lions.
It's not us.
Not going to be the Vikings.
It's not going to be the Packers either.
It's not going to be us. I promise you that.
I don't think it's going to be Minnesota.
I don't know.
Never know. I mean,
we also could really use wide receivers. I mean, it'd be really nice if T. Higgins from Clemson could fall or Denzel Mims from Baylor. I don't see that really happening.
I don't want T. Higgins in Minnesota.
You don't?
No, I think he's going to be Laquan Treadwell too.
Okay.
I mean, I hope he isn't for his career, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one receiver in this draft class who doesn't pan out.
Trey wants a Josh Bellamy.
No, I don't. I mean, guys
or
like
Kevin White.
AJ Hamler, who's like very similar to Josh Bellamy, speedy but can't really catch. But
I mean, if you want a speedy receiver and like you're early in the second round, like the Bears are, I would try to target Jalen Reagor because whoever the Packers don't take, that is most likely who the Bears will take.
There's still going to be a lot of other teams who need receivers, though. So
that's true.
It's a deep class, though.
It is a really deep receiver class.
Between the Packers and the Bears, it's 49ers, Chiefs, Bengals, Colts, Lions, Giants, Chargers, Panthers, Dolphins, Texans, Browns, and Jaguars.
Okay, so a lot of those teams could potentially draft a receiver if the right guy falls to them.
Yeah.
I think
if that happens, I wouldn't mind taking Cole Clement from Notre Dame, tight end, local kid around Chicago. I think he'd be a good fix. I'm not sold on Jimmy Graham.
And they cut Trey Burton, so don't have him anymore.
Little fun fact, Cole Kmet actually goes to my church.
That is a very fun fact.
I've met him.
That's a
you'll love to see him in a Bears jersey, I'm sure. You would love to see him in Bears.
He went to Viator. Went to St. Viator. It's pretty close.
Anything defensively that the Bears should do?
We need another cornerback because we don't have Prince Mukamura anymore. So it's basically Kyle Fuller and nothing else. So that would be a pretty big problem if the Packers get a receiver and if the Vikings draft a receiver. That could be an issue.
Someone to go alongside Thielen. I'd like to see that. I don't know if you want to see it.
No, I don't.
Kurt, what about your boy Trevon Diggs?
I don't think he's going to be in a Vikings jersey. I mean, especially with how Stephon Diggs and that entire situation went, I don't see it happening. If Diggs was happy.
What's the deal there? Are they related?
Yeah, they're brothers.
Oh, yeah, that might be an issue.
Yeah. So
I didn't think they were like – I thought they were –
No, they're brothers.
They were like cousins or something like that.
No, they are brothers.
Huh.
Learn something new every day.
Maybe they shipped Diggs to the Bills so they could get Trevon Diggs with their first pick in the first round.
I don't know about that. I think with how that entire situation ended with Kirk Cousins and just how Diggs left the Vikings, I don't know
And
if
you
it's
can
the best
also-
idea to draft his brother, who maybe was like in on that situation, do a little bit more than the public does. And I just don't want to take that risk.
You can take a steroid boy, Mekhi Becton,
He's a monster.
big man, but I don't think that's just him.
I don't know. I think he's going to
Yeah.
be gone. I think he's going to be gone by 10, though. I think he's going to go to Cleveland.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. That's what I predict too. But
Seems like a
it's
Cleveland
kinda hard
guy.
because it seems like another Laramie Tunsil situation.
Yeah.
He fits their zone blocking scheme, though, with Kevin Stefanski, former Minnesota
That's true.
Vikings coordinator.
Yeah.
Thoughts about the quarterbacks in this year's draft? Tua, Herbert, Burrow.
People
Burrow's
are saying
number
that
one.
People are saying Tua is going to go number 1.
Tua's not going to go number 1. It's going to be Joe
No,
Burrow.
I think it's Burrow's a lock for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, the Bengals are obviously drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
I've been
Because
seeing Herbert at number 5.
Herbert
To
at
the
5,
Dolphins.
that's to the Dolphins.
Well, the Dolphins have a choice. They have a choice between Tua and Herbert.
I think that's an interesting choice. Because Tua's got the injury problems.
Because it depends. I mean, it depends. Because this is what's going to form their franchise. Because if you think about it, Tua and Herbert, they're two different types of style quarterbacks. Because Herbert's more of he can be mobile. He
threw a lot of screen
pocket
passes
passer.
in college.
Yeah.
He did. He's a pocket passer, but he can also run he's athletic. He can
Yeah.
move around the pocket.
He's athletic. But I think
Like,
his decision making
go-
is going to be the key thing that teams are going to worry about.
I don't want to go too far and say Justin Herbert is a comparison to Aaron Rodgers, but I mean he can definitely throw the football and he can definitely run.
I'm leaning a little more towards Mitch Trubisky on Herbert.
I've seen some Jay Cutler comparisons that he just got the arm.
Solely because of the decision making. He has some amazing throws. He has some amazing tape. But for every great throw he makes, you've got other ones where you're just wondering what he saw.
And then you take a look at Tua's side, which he's a 100% mobile. He's a mobile quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. He can definitely run. Has a little bit of a less arm, but definitely can still throw the ball. But I mean, it just depends on which way the Dolphins want to take their organization.
I think if there were no injury concerns with Tua, he would be the consensus number 5 pick.
I think if there was no injury concerns with Tua, he could be challenging for the number 1 pick.
He could.
I agree with that. If he was healthy, like he was on Heisman watch for sure.
Yeah.
For a while.
Oh yeah.
But it's not only the hip. He's had ankle problems throughout college. And that's just
True.
something that worries me. Chase Young's probably going to go too.
Oh, I think that's a lock too. I think it's Burrow, Young is like we can pretty much write that in.
So those are our thoughts on the 2020 NFL Draft. I'd like to thank you all for listening to this. Please like the podcast if you enjoyed, subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on SoundCloud, or do both. We'd really appreciate the support. The 3 Sportsmen is going to be a weekly podcast uploaded to both YouTube and SoundCloud. And yeah, we'd really appreciate the support. So, like to see you in the next episode, and always remember to trust the podcast.